Hi, I'm Carla D. Tillery, and welcome to the Chair Chronicles. I'm your life coach and your favorite auntie. You know, that aunt that is so not afraid to tell you the truth and help you see things just a little clearer, and you love her advice. Well, as a certified life coach with over 2 decades of experience, I'm very passionate about helping you find your happiness. So pull up a chair and let's have a talk. LA.
Hey, how are you?
Good. The question of the day is, how do you handle the winter blues?
Oh, right on time.
The winter blues.
Yes.
It's
yes.
almost winter
Yeah.
for us. And interestingly, we just had the clocks to go back, so we gained that extra hour.
Yeah.
And so now it gets super dark, super
Which I
fast.
don't like. I need more daylight.
And it's so funny because, you know, thinking about this question and actually having some recent conversations about this,
Right.
I've noticed that I have a lot of people in my circle that actually suffer from winter blues.
Yeah. It's sad.
And
But
it's a real
thing.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I know at first it was like, I don't really suffer from it, although I will say that I do have moments. But I think some of the people that I know, I mean, it's like really a long-term kind of feeling that they experience.
Right.
As opposed to me, like every now and then it's like, you know, it's dark outside, or I'm feeling a little down.
Right.
But I have friends that feel like that for almost the entire season.
Wow. And, you know, I'm like that too, where, you know, when it starts to get dark early, you know, I'm a summer person. I was born in June, so I'm a summer baby. And so, you know, I start to get a little sad and feel like, okay, you have to be inside. It's cold. It's, you know, you feel a little depressed. But, you know, to know that it's actually people that are suffering from it. You know, that's alarming. That's alarming.
And there is a real diagnosis for this. And the acronym is SAD, and it stands for Seasonal Affective Disorder.
Wow.
And, you know, I've done some research about it to try to understand it because I'm not a psychotherapist or a psychologist.
Right.
But understanding that those symptoms are really real for people who suffer from this diagnosis.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's crippling for them, you know, and especially knowing and watching the clocks get set back and you're, you know, and I'm pretty sure they feel, you know, anxiety and all of that. So this is a great question. It's a good question on how we combat it, you know.
And whether it's something on the light side for you or whether it's something very serious, I think is something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
You know, are you suffering from those symptoms where your appetite is changing, where your sleeping is changing, where you're really feeling like this heavy burden when, you know, when the winter comes because of the fact that short day hours.
Yes.
And then, you know, it just changes your whole mood because it's colder in many climates, right? And so everything is changing. Everything is changing. You know, you're bringing out those thick coats, and it takes a lot more to get out the house, and you're a lot more layered, right?
Exactly.
And some people love the fashion, right? To have the coats, to have the boots, and all of that, the hats and the gloves and the matching scarves.
Right.
But for others, it's just like, oh my gosh, like this, I gotta put all of this on.
Right. So you feel layered down. You feel layered down. And then on top of that, we're still dealing with COVID.
Yes.
And the numbers are starting to rise here in Connecticut. So I'm sure that's another component. You know, people are already hunkering down as it is.
I'm one of those. I mean, I'm already at the stores trying to get supplies. Listen, I'm not going to get caught without no more toilet paper.
That's right.
And it's interesting because they are saying that the like the grocery stores and things like that and the distribution centers, what happened in terms of what was out of stock earlier are not going to be the same supplies that may be out during this second wave. So it's like trying to predict what may be out. And a lot of it, I think I saw, at least in the early reports, were like cereals and things like that. Because still kids are home from school, learning in the in-home environment. And then they're going to be snacking all day. Maybe you want to go get those snacks now.
Load up on them.
So so it's like even with COVID now, and then on top of that, winter is coming.
Yeah.
It'll be harder to get out. People feeling layered. I can imagine a lot of, it could be an increase with people feeling the winter blues.
Right.
And then not being able to connect with family.
That's it. And that's a big thing. I mean, 2 of the biggest holidays are upon us, and people are already starting to figure out or try to figure out, can I have a gathering?
Right.
Should I do it? And some feeling guilty that they're going to have to say no, for their own purposes. And so now compiled with, SAD, you know, and those that are by themselves.
Right. So this is
so
tough.
much. It's layered.
I think this is going to be tough. And I think for those who may feel it just on the light side, may not have gone to your doctor to actually be diagnosed because you have a severe of these symptoms.
Right.
I think even for those people that have a light case, that it's going to be very difficult this
Right. But I'm excited and about this topic because I think a lot of people are feeling that way and they just don't know how to put it into words. Because like I said, I used to feel that way, but I didn't know what to call it. I thought, I just don't like it being dark early.
Right. Well, and the dark doesn't bother me, I guess, because I felt like I could still get out and go places. You could still go to the restaurants. You could still go visit with your friends. But now with COVID, it's like, okay, it's going to be dark and you're going to be shut in.
Right.
And for me, I'm like trying to prepare myself. Like, how am I going to start to kind of handle even these moments? Right. And, so there's a lot of different things that you can do, at least from, what the doctors may suggest.
Okay.
And I've talked to my friends and I'm like, well, find something to kind of distract you a little bit. Right. What can you do in the evenings? Right. And even, what new hobby or what new project can you take on so that it'll start to kind of at least just put your mind in a different framework.
Right.
Because I think if you're just sitting on the couch and just looking at TV and it's dark, right? You don't have the lights on in the house. You don't have no music. Like it's a little activity.
Right.
You got to find something to keep your body moving.
Right. And I think that's a great idea. We're able to tune in, YouTube and, iTunes. So we all have, televisions, and on our televisions with our services, most of us, we can get the music channel. We can get the fitness channel. So even if you're not going to the gym, carve out 30 minutes and say, I'm just going to get up and dance. Just put on your favorite music and just let loose.
Yeah, and I'm a big music junkie.
Me too.
So,
Me too. And I love
music
to dance.
usually is on all the time, even in my car when I'm driving. So music is one of my go-tos to kind of pick me up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to do. I think it's self-awareness of what does it take for you to pick your own self up.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself.
Right.
Got to talk to yourself.
Yes.
And sometimes I know people think I'm crazy because I do talk to myself. I'm like, Carla, girl, you got to get it together.
Yes.
So like you got to figure out you got to find those ways that will get your spirits up, that'll get your heartbeat up, that'll get you going. And sometimes for me, it's actually having a special project, something that I'm doing around the house that I can get excited about. And it allow me to kind of put my attention on something else.
Yeah. And I mean, there are so many different ways that we can do that. Journal.
Yes.
List 10 things every day that you're thankful for.
Right.
And wait and do it in the evening time. Wait and do it at that point where you start to feel down and all that. Or how about grabbing some thinking of you cards and just sit there and just send them out, just address them and just send, because you're not the only one that's going through that. There are other people that might be feeling the same well. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think on all the social media outlets, there are so many different groups, right? There are groups on Facebook that you can join. And I think there's so many different groups of different interests. Whether it be sports or arts or writing or what have you. That you can get connected with the group that also kind of get you going. And kind of have something to distract you a little bit as well during this time.
And with your family and friends, keep in touch. Reach out. Reach out and, how about you be the planner and schedule a Zoom, for 10 minutes, once a week, whoever wants to join, just jump on and say hello to one another. Just something that makes you feel connected, especially if you're by yourself.
Exactly.
Especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah. Cause I can see that being very difficult now. In the winter months and with COVID, you're shut in by yourself. Like, how do you feel and stay connected. So you've given some great tips, about reaching out. Right. It's so interesting though. I think I've noticed, and you tell me, because this happens a lot in marriages, where there's usually one person who's like the initiator, and they're the person who's always doing the planning. Yes. They're the person who's always got like pushing the ideas.
Right.
But when you're by yourself and you don't have that innate trait,
right?
How do you I don't want to say force yourself, but how do you make yourself or discipline yourself where you will willingly reach out and connect with others? Because that's tough.
Yeah.
If your phone is not ringing off the hook,
right,
then what do? Do you sit and mope? Do you sit and kind of withdraw?
Right.
How do you kind of make yourself kind of get out there?
And I think for me, because I'm such an E personality, so I am that person in my group that'll, send a text out and say, okay, I'm going to plan something. Let's get together. I'm the initiator. But I think for those who, it's not in them to just do that, you have to be intentional. And, don't be afraid to say, I'm feeling blue, call someone, and again, sometimes people feel like, well, nobody's calling me, so why should I call them?
Yes, yeah.
But you have to, I believe, not let that be your draw, because you never know, that person might be feeling the same way. And so if you make that step and reach out, and sometimes people just don't know, they make the assumption sometimes when we're smiling and, we always say, oh, I'm okay. They assume you're okay. So I think it's one of those things where you have to be intentional. And like I said, when I found myself kind of going through that, being, a little mopey about, I was like, okay, I have to keep myself busy. I have to do something that brings me joy. So that's where you tap in. And again, it really depends, because like you said, some people are also having some mental issues going on and some other, health challenges. So I'm sure that can be challenging. So for the people that have people in your circle that kind of withdraw during this time, pay attention to the signal.
So that's a great point. I think now more so than ever, we really have to pay attention.
Yeah.
We have to be very observant of people that are in our circle.
Right.
So that we can get a sense of when they may not be fine, when they say, I'm fine, or I'm okay, and they really are not.
Right.
And I think if you have people within your group that are not the initiators, then I'm hoping that the initiators in the group will really do their role.
Do it.
Do your role and reach out and connect.
Right.
Because I think now more than ever, we're going to need to do that.
Oh, yeah. And I like that. I like, giving the onus to those that are the ones that are reaching out and all that. And I posted one, a couple of weeks ago on Facebook, and I said, it's okay not to be okay.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't mean that, people are going to look at you funny or anything like that. But what it means is you have feelings.
And you're human.
And you're human. And we all go through it.
All of us.
And
I think if there's anything that's going on in this world, sometimes it feels like we've lost the touch of humanity.
Yeah.
With understanding that people are human and that sometimes you can find yourself in a place and it may not be atypical of you.
Right.
But you know what? You're human.
Right.
And you have, like you said, feelings and emotions, and you're dealing with different things. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think if we can find those initiators, if you know that's in you, then do your role. Fulfill your role.
That's right.
That's your purpose.
It is your purpose.
Right? If that is a part of your characteristic and your personality, then do it.
Yes.
So one of the other things I think is helpful though, and it's a little play off what doctors say when they recommend this to someone who has being diagnosed with this, is like the lighting.
Right.
And sometimes because it's dark outside does not mean that it has to be dark in your home.
Right.
And I think sometimes just having the lights on can also help stimulate things.
Yes.
Because sometimes, listen, I grew up where if you weren't in the room,
you better turn that light off. Listen, you want to know what my light bill is going to be? Right, exactly.
Right. You had to turn those lights
you did.
off.
Yes.
And I think now, if you notice that you're kind of one of those who kind of suffer from this for a longer time than what you desire,
right,
look at your lighting in your home. And I think sometimes if you just simply turn the lights on and get some activity going on, that energy, you'll start to feed off of that, and that might be helpful.
Yeah,
because they do recommend light therapy, I think, for some patients. Right. Depending on the symptoms and whatever other measures they're looking for.
Light therapy.
But light therapy,
yeah.
So if you're mild, just turn your lights on. It might be dark outside. Turn those lights on.
Exactly. Do not sit in the dark. Please don't.
Yeah. And like I said, sometimes when you're sitting on the couch and you're watching TV, you turn off all the lights. Right? If you do that at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, like, you're done. You are so done because you've got such a long night to go where your body does not have anything to feed off of.
Right.
So I think something as simple as turning the lights on or turning something else on in the home that can stimulate you,
noise,
like some music or something.
Noise, something. Yeah.
Especially for people too that are single. I think that's important to kind of have. You know, there have been plenty of times I've been in the house by myself. Listen, people come home and they're like, "Are you having a party?" Yes, by myself.
I am. Right.
The lights are on. The music is on. I'm into candles, so I might have my candles on. I might have fixed me a nice meal, and I'm in there just having a good time all by myself.
Take care of yourself.
You have to.
You have to. And even creating an ambiance, for yourself. If you are, that type of person that keeps walking by that room that has all this stuff in it, and you keep contemplating, I really need to go in that. Not anymore. Not anymore. And like you said, find those projects, even though it might seem daunting, throw on some music and dance around and move that file over there and move that,
Right.
So there are ways that we can do this, and we can feel better.
So I had a friend of mine, and this is something really corny, but they wanted me to send a picture. So I sent a picture, and it was a humorous photo of myself. Okay. It was just a facial expression.
Okay.
But my girlfriend ended up calling me, and I think we laughed for like 15 minutes literally on the phone. Right? So I think when you were talking about dancing, it just reminded me, like, sometimes you could just send a quick video of you dancing. It's appropriate video, right, just to spark somebody else, to make them laugh, to just make them kind of come alive, and it's like, oh my God, you look hilarious. And I know a lot of people use the TikTok, to do those sort of things, but everybody's not on TikTok, right? So they can't see those little 1 minute videos. Exactly. I'm not on TikTok. That's just it's just too much.
It's just too much social media.
It's too much for me.
Let me handle Facebook. I'm good. I can handle that.
So if you got something you want to send me, you got to send it to me. You can't expect me to look at it on TikTok.
Exactly.
But there's so many different challenges people are doing and things like that. So I think we're really going to have to push each other.
Right.
And challenge each other to not get in that kind of a mood, because it is dangerous.
It is.
And I don't want to dismiss the seriousness of it.
Right.
Sometimes it is triggered by anniversaries of people who've passed.
Right.
With COVID happening. And it had been almost going on a year, at least in the world, right? Because it started in other parts of the country before it came to America.
Right.
So I think overall, this kind of solemn sadness, we have to be careful.
Right.
Because I think just remembering the start of this and how it happened and losing so many people. Right. And now we're in this second wave and we're losing hundreds of people all over again.
Right.
It's devastating. So grief and like this sort of anniversaries of other people who passed in our life. A lot of times people have trouble.
They really do.
People are still dying from accidents, car accidents and things, and traumatic experiences, whether it be something traumatic that occurred during these months can trigger those moments.
Right. And I think, like you said, it's very important, for you, the individual, to recognize there's nothing wrong with reaching out for help. If you feel like, I can't shake this. I don't, I'm doing all these other things and I'm trying to feel happy. I just don't.
Yes.
You have to reach out to someone.
Reach out to someone, please.
Reach out to someone.
It is absolutely necessary that we don't kind of like stay in a cocoon.
No.
Right now.
No.
I think all more important, we have to stay connected with
We have to.
Right now.
We have to. And you would be surprised at how many people are going through the same thing. And that's where we talk about that support for one another. So, it's just key that we are intentional this season, that we really check on one another.
Right. So all those planners out there in your
Yes,
social
come on
groups, please keep planning.
Yes.
Please keep things going. Find some way to stay connected.
Right.
During this season, particularly be aware of those in your circle. I think we really need to really heighten our awareness of those around us.
Yes.
And if you get a sense that something is going on, reach out and get connected and make sure that everyone is okay during this season.
Right. And don't just take them saying I'm okay for an answer. If you have that gut feeling and you know that something is not right, continue to talk to them and say, talk to me. I'm this safe place. You can tell me if something. And if they say, I don't know what's wrong, but something doesn't feel right, then you know that you can help them, you know, and it's not about you diagnosing them or saying this is what they should do, but maybe, you know, have phone numbers available that they, you know, a hotline, someplace where they can reach out, you know, even them going to their primary care physician and actually getting diagnosed, seeing if there's other things that are going on with them.
That's right. Most importantly, if you're feeling stuck and you're not knowing what to do, please reach out to your doctors.
Yes.
I think that is so important right now.
Yes.
The last thing we want to do is lose another life.
No.
When it could have been prevented.
Right.
So if you feel like you're having some of these things that we've been talking about and you're really concerned about it or you're not sure, call your doctor now.
Right.
And make sure you set up an appointment so that you can get the help that you need.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So again, to all those planners out there, get the planning.
Come on.
Stay connected.
Yes.
Because everybody doesn't have that sort of gene of initiating and reaching out and connecting.
Right.
So if that is you, please fulfill your purpose and do exactly that so that we can all be mentally well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
This was great.
This is an awesome topic. Yeah.
So we hope that none of you suffer from the winter blues.
Yes.
And if you do, listen, we shared some things that you can do, even if you don't know that is at that level where you need to see a doctor. Turn your lights on.
Okay.
Get some music going.
Yes.
Find a special project. Do some journaling. Write that book that you've never written.
Yes.
Start that project that you've never started.
Clean out that
and
closet.
Find yourself getting out of those winter blues to feeling very, very happy during this season.
Yes.
So we want everybody to have a happy holiday season.
Please
no
do.
matter what you celebrate, we want you to be well. We want you to be happy, and we want you to stay strong.
Yes.
So thank you for tuning in
Yes.
on another episode of
The Chair Chronicles.